Hey everybody, welcome back to the Playing with Power podcast, the issue-by-issue retrospective on Nintendo Power Magazine. You are picking us up in the second half of issue 65, which has, if I can remember correctly...
Talking correctly with Ben.
Illusion of Gaia on the cover. You know I never do this in prep for that.
Any prep in general. There we go.
No time for that. Nope. All right. So, again, this is from October of 1994. I am your host, Ben. With me, as always, is my co-host, Mike.
Hello.
And John.
Yo.
And we are joined again by our illustrious guest, Kyle Clark. Welcome.
Hello. Happy to be
and
here.
if you didn't listen to the first half, go listen to that first for the first half of the episode issue.
Otherwise, you might not know who Kyle is.
Yes. So find all his information in there. Kyle, where else can they find you?
At Kyle Clark is Rad on Twitter is probably the best way to get a hold of me, or to check out my podcast, This Is Rad, or my album, I'm a Person.
Right on. So we're picking it up on, what page is this? Let's see, 35?
35. We're chugging along.
Oh my
here.
gosh, we are not going fast at all. And we've got Maximum Carnage featuring Spider-Man and Venom.
Oh, this game looks so friggin' good.
It's all right.
Even
Like,
the cartridge.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
So I want to talk a little bit about the music first before we get into the game.
Well, can we talk about the cartridge first?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
It's a red cartridge. Like, that's just awesome in itself.
What's interesting about the picture here is it makes it look like burgundy or...
Right.
It's blood red. I have the cartridge in my garage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Along
the
with
picture
the
doesn't do it
neighborhood
justice.
kids that didn't make it home.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting, this is a LJN game.
Yeah, which is a big red flag.
It is. It's actually a decent side-scrolling beat-em-up game.
Maybe that's why they made it red. Because, like, it's an LJN game, so they want to be like, danger, danger, Will Robinson.
Literal red flag. Yeah.
LJN, let's just not.
Yes. All right.
All right, so anyways.
So, all right,
I want to
music.
talk about
what's
the
going
music.
on. All right.
So what's interesting is they contracted with the band Green Jelly to do the soundtrack.
Love me.
So if you're not familiar with Green Jelly...
Green Jello, right?
Yeah.
No, they were originally called Green Jello,
Okay.
but then Jello was going to sue them, and they were like, oh shit, we don't want to be sued, so let's change our band name to Green Jelly.
We haven't made enough money to withstand a lawsuit.
The reason why they called themselves Green Jello to begin with was because they felt it was the worst tasting flavor of Jello.
Oh, that beautiful
They're
self-image.
not wrong.
Yes. So I clearly know way too much about this band. So anyways,
Oh, trust me, I'm aware.
Most famous for their Three Little Pigs.
that's right.
Off
I'm-
was that off the album Serial Killer with Toucan
Yep.
Sam and Captain Crunch?
I'm very much aware of that, like when I moved in with Ben when we were roommates. He's like, "You haven't heard about Green Jello? We have to watch all these videos for the next 2 hours."
They did. They made a whole like VHS tape that they sold of like all music videos from that entire album.
Yeah,
And they're
I was
all
definitely
like this
questioning my decision to like roommate with you at that point in time.
I thought that sold it. I thought that sold it and sealed the deal. You were like, oh yeah. It's all like really shitty special effects, made in someone's like garage with like paper mache. Like the Three Little Pigs video was done professionally with like claymation,
Right.
but everything else was just like puppets and stuff like that. Yeah. So, anyways, it looks like they contracted them to make the music, and so it's kind of interesting. I'll play a little clip of it here. So you get kind of the flavor for its.
That's definitely pretty rocking
Yeah,
for
this-
Super Nintendo.
Yeah, and there's a lot about this game that they did right. So the cutscenes are all done in the style of like comic, like cel shaded like comic panels, and like they have sort of the I don't know how to like.
Wow, I thought I was the guy that couldn't talk on the show.
Yeah.
I thought I was the one screwing up
What's
tonight.
a little obscure though is like it constantly refers to stuff from the comics that like if you don't like it doesn't explain what's going on, like just kind of like these other characters kind of drop in. You don't you're not given any backstory, so it's just kind of like, all right, Morbius has shown up. I don't know if she's good or bad.
They did that in Marvel Ultimate Alliance too. I remember.
Yeah.
It was like characters just like I remember like the Winter Soldier, who was like a brand new character popped in, and they just say, "Oh no, it's the Winter Soldier," and assume that you like know who that is.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what I like is in the new Spider-Man game, they're introducing Mr. Negative and his inner demons, like finally out of the comics, getting his due in a game.
So Maximum Carnage was, for anyone not reading comics from that time, Marvel was doing this thing, and I don't know if they're still doing it. I think they stopped for a while, where like they had all these crossover, like cross after cross after crossover, to where if you wanted to read a freaking story, you had to buy every single copy of the Spider-Man comics from that month, essentially.
And it would let you know, oh no, you've only got like the 2 Spider-Man months in sequence, but this is 3 and the other one is 5. Clearly, you need to get the Fantastic Four to get issue 4 of this storyline.
Well, they had, the Infinity Gauntlet series before all this, and Maximum Carnage was specific just to Spider-Man comics. So they had Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man. I think there was another one that was.
Did you see that thing? Like
Plus Venom's book.
The Marvel, the Marvel people, or the movie Marvel guys said like, oh, Avengers 4 closes out the 22 movie arc. and the new Spider-Man start a new arc that they're gonna introduce is what's happening apparently.
Oh my god, a new Spider-Man. How old is this kid? 12?
He's a fetus.
Aunt May is now going to be played by Emma Stone.
As an Asian.
That was that Aloha
Nice.
movie? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was good casting. Good casting.
So
All right.
the storyline for Maximum Carnage was
it was better than John Wayne as Genghis Khan though. So there we go.
so bad. So
right,
I don't remember specifically the whole story, but the general idea is that
I can tell you then.
there's another alien symbiote because just having the black one with Venom, it wasn't enough. So now there's another one that's more dangerous.
Venom split off. He got pregnant by himself, split off, and joined his cellmate, Eddie Brock's cellmate, who happened to be a psycho killer named Cletus Cassidy, who bonded very well with this unwanted symbiote. So they became the psychopathic killer Carnage.
So the dynamic of this game is you can either play as Spider-Man or Venom. I think you can select between the two of them, right? Or there's
but only after level 6.
Okay.
You
That
first
makes
come
sense.
across Venom in Chapter 7.
So the big difference is like Spider-Man is a lot quicker, and you have a sort of a scorpion web move where you grab your enemies, like pull them over to you, and you can punch them. You can also form like a web Captain America shield that stops punches from the enemies, and then once you later in the game when you can play as Venom. He's a lot stronger, but not as nimble, and is more of a true brawler character. It's a lot easier to play this game as Venom than it is.
I like this screenshot they have of Venom in the bottom left here. Where it just looks like he's doing a ballet move,
Right. He has a lot of spin kick moves and stuff, so they're trying to capture that, but he looks like he's just in the Black Swan or something like that.
I would see that play.
He makes out with Mila Kunis halfway through. It's all right.
And then,
Well, with that tongue, how could you not?
All my 2012 humor is being put to good use.
there it is. What I really liked about this game was the tie-ins they had with other characters. So they have these extra characters you can use as a special power, essentially. And they'll come in and they'll clear the screen of enemies using some nice animation or whatever their special abilities are. So you've got Cloak and Dagger is one. You got Captain America, Black Cat, who's bursting out of her chest costume
As
there.
always. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong at all. They have Iron Fist, Firestar, and Deathlock.
It's an interesting
basically
combination
Cyborg.
of characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of scraped the barrel a little bit here for a few of these, but...
Well, these are the characters that were prominent in the Maximum Carnage comic arc.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. I actually just bought the Maximum Carnage trade on Comixology. I have not read it yet because it was
I'm
on
sorry I
sale.
spoiled it.
And
So-
it's interesting.
It's a good read.
So fucking Iron Fist shows up because now we think of Iron Fist like, oh, of course, because he had a Netflix show, but he was a pretty fifth tier character in the '90s.
Yeah.
Well, in the 70s, didn't he team up with Luke Cage?
Yeah, for
that
Heroes
was
for
like
Hire.
that was their blaxploitation era, which actually turned out great because
those
they
old
did
books are great.
they did it right.
So
Like they showed Luke's struggle without making him seem like a token of anything. Like he was just a dude who happened to like have a black experience in America and could like he's like the black man that the cops have to actually talk to nicely.
It's also interesting.
I don't know what the rules are with Marvel characters. I bet you it's like, okay, who's not being used this month, for another storyline, so we don't
Right.
go, oh, why is, Captain America in two places at once, I think they operated with that kind of, okay, so you're not doing anything with Cap this month, he's on a break, whatever, all right, he can be in the Spider-Man crossover.
He's in the he's not in the Phantom Zone, so he can be like in New York. So
It's interesting that they have Firestar but not X-Men because they're clearly going for a little bit of that Spider-Man is Amazing Friends vibe.
So let's see what my notes are here from my prep. All the enemies. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, please.
Oh, no, Deathlock, he's a ripoff of what DC character am I
Cyborg.
thinking of? Cyborg, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Deathlock
So-
is a way cooler character than Cyborg, though.
Okay.
Is he?
Well,
Is
we
he?
know very little about
Because
the
he's like
character,
part
so-
cyborg, part Spawn, because he's like a dead soldier who becomes a death machine.
I did not know that part about him.
His origin
That-
story is
that
kind of
explains it.
badass. It's always kind of a shame that like he's kind of fallen off of being a character that they've been able to do something with, because he's always been a character I like a lot in Marvel Comics.
So one weird thing about this game, every single enemy is named. Like when you're brawling with them, so it'll be like fighting some henchman. It's just like you're fighting Rick. Like, like it's like they all have unique names. So like when you're fighting like one of the main, if you're fighting Morbius, it's like says Morbius, but like you also know you're fighting like Stan the henchman. Like I don't know, just I found that to be amusing that like they took the time to give every single enemy their own unique
Well, it
name.
reminds me of.
When you punch,
Oh, go ahead.
when you punch him in the face, his sunglasses fly off, and he goes, "Oh, Excelsior!"
The named people thing always like clearly it's kind of a Final Fight thing, but it always makes me think of. Did you ever read the comic The Invisibles? It's a
No.
Vertigo book. Grant Morrison did it. It's really good, but there's a whole story in it. There's an issue where it goes through this guy's life, and it's like from him being born through to him becoming an adult to him falling into a life of crime and becoming a henchman, and it ends in the moment where the main character blows his face off in a fight.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Like, and he's just literally like a trivia, like the third guy in a row who's like getting shot to death. Like, it's such a brilliant, like, weird little commentary.
My other notes
Yeah.
are the brawling is good, but there's like the game is interspersed with a bunch of climbing levels, which it's like the frame is very limited in what you see, so you get hit with these lightning bolts that you don't know are coming.
That's all I
and-
think of when I think of this game is the goddamn off-screen lightning
Yeah.
bolts.
Yeah, it's
I'm sorry.
it's terror. I'm sorry, Mike.
Are we not going to be talking about Spider-Man beating the shit out of some Girl Scouts?
Yeah, that's the end of the first. We're talking just about the game, but okay,
Oh,
go
okay.
ahead.
No,
Go ahead,
But they're
Mike.
bad girls.
I did. Oh, they need a spanking.
They're two street smart sisters who are like bad apples, rotten to the core.
That's just good copy.
So they're the first bosses. Are literally Girl Scouts, which is kind of odd. But that was the only other thing. So you only get one continue in the game as well.
Yeah.
So that
that's
equates
brutal.
to 6 lives. And the glaring thing more than anything else about this game, how the hell did they not include a 2-player mode? It's literally like perfectly made to have a 2-player mode. But no, you can't have Spidey and Venom like on the
that
screen.
feels
at the
like
same time.
something that
would
they were
just make way
selling
too
the
much
game
sense.
on forever and then forgot to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as Mike said, the first stage you're brawling you through the New York streets. You end up battling Girl Scouts. You then climb up to the rooftop to battle. It's Morbius, right, on the rooftop?
No, Shriek.
Shriek. I'm sorry. Okay. The
Yeah,
Iron
and she's,
you battle the
yeah,
Iron
she's-
Shriek.
And she's friends with Spidey's I don't know if he's a clone or something, but he's doppelganger. I don't know Doppelganger's story, if he's a clone or if he's just like an alien that decided to dress up like Spidey because he likes the way he looks.
Wait, there's
something.
a character named Doppelganger in Spider-Man?
You're looking at him.
I
How
thought that was just
literal
like
can
one
they
of
make
the. I thought it was just one of the what if issues where it's like, what if
that's
Spider-Man,
canon, baby.
You know, what was like a real spider and had 8 arms. Kind of
There
thing.
was issues in Spider-Man's canon where he tried to get rid of his powers, but he ended up accelerating them, and he did grow arms, and eventually he became a giant spider. If you remember watching the Spider-Man cartoon in the 90s with the awesome Aerosmith music.
Yep.
Was that an Aerosmith song?
Spider-Man.
The lead guitarist of
Wrote that song?
Aerosmith wrote and performed the song. That's him making the.
I had no idea. I had to learn this on a Nintendo podcast.
Hey, the useless trivia we have.
Why couldn't they give it like a clever like Shakespearean name like Fortinbras or something like that? Like so he's a foil to Spider-Man. I don't know.
Because that's a
He's not
terrible
that- he's
idea.
not-
We're literally gonna call him Doppelganger. Like that's
Well, he's too simple-minded.
I like the
to
idea
be
of somebody in a
anything more.
meeting. Wait a minute,
He's-
going. All right, you guys can go with Doppelganger, but I think Team Fortinbras has made some valid points.
it's still the number one pitch meeting I want to be in, like of all time, has to be Hogan's Heroes. Like, all right, so it's a comedy set in a prisoner of war camp in World War II. Go on, you have me. Like,
It's a Nazi death camp, but
no,
it's
it wasn't
funny.
a death camp. It was a prisoner of war camp. But yeah, like, all right, that's a good comedy hook. Let's play this out. Let's see what comes out of this.
Let's see what happens. And then
Yeah, like how did he not get the door slammed in his face? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Nazi prisoner camp. Yes, and
you had me at Nazi.
I did not see this pitch coming.
Oh, terrible.
Anyway,
All right, so we're going through the
I guess
later.
they gurgled that up.
Not as good as the first one.
Jesus Christ.
They're going through the rest of the levels here. And what other bosses do we have that are noticeable here?
Well, we
Big
got
Bubba?
Shriek. Yeah, Shriek is apparently throwing bacon at Spider-Man. Well,
Yeah,
doing
that's like-
some
And it's
powers
weird
as
because
well.
I don't
Goddamn
understand what
lightning
Shriek
bolts from
is,
when
because
you're
to me
climbing up.
Shriek is the version that's like also like Laney Carnage, isn't she? Or no, it's Scream. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm confusing her with Scream.
No, she just has
That's
the power
right.
to shriek. She's like
Okay.
a banshee type thing.
I don't know who Shriek is from the comics at all. I don't know who Doppelganger is in the comics at all.
I think she was one of Daredevil's villains, but because it all takes place in New York, she crossed paths with Spidey as well. So I guess she was going after Daredevil, but then she came across Doppelganger, thought it was Spider-Man, but then she decided to adopt him. And then they met Carnage, and she ended up hooking up with him.
Okay.
All right, and so let's see. Then you battle down in the alley.
Big Bubba.
Big Bubba.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Remember him from the comics?
That's
Oh
Ben's
yeah,
porn name.
he looks like Sandman if he let himself go.
He's such a like video game character.
Really
Like
loves
every
him.
part of him is a character that can only exist on the Super Nintendo.
His
Right.
special move is diabetes.
Oh.
Anyway,
But remember, if you beat him before he beats you, you get an extra life.
And then
How
what?
can you
fight-
continue the game if he beats you?
I don't know. You have to
maybe
continue.
it means
You
like
should
beat him
continue, I
without
guess,
maybe like beat him without dying.
without dying. I'm guessing.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, and then let's see, you continue to battle Doppelganger and Shriek in the hall, which looks more like a cathedral than the hall, but and then you continue on with a chase between
You have a run with Carnage there,
The Demo Goblin.
Demogoblin,
and then Demo Goblin at the end.
over the city streets. Then
Which
you
is
battle
like
in
the
Times Square.
yeah,
That's pretty
which is
cool.
like the Hobgoblin, except this guy actually has demonic powers.
And then the game transitions to San Francisco for a
He
stage with
plays.
Venom.
Yep, finally plays Venom.
Though their advice here says use Venom if you're one more of a challenge. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is easier to play as Spider-Man. But all right, whatever.
You can't really dodge things with Venom because he's slow, essentially. I don't know.
And then there's
you could probably just eat someone to regain your health.
there's a Central Park level, and then you go back to the New York streets, and the game continues with more.
Hold on. You have to fight against Dr. J and Big John.
Where's this at?
Where?
These are two. Look at the medical deviates. These are two like doctors that have sport coats with matching ties with umbrellas.
Oh, Jesus!
That poke you with the umbrellas. Oh my
Wow.
God! This is not like a beginning boss either. This is chapter 9.
Right.
Oh my God, this is like a shitty New York version of the Kingsmen.
I was watching that tonight. I don't know. Yeah, I like that movie.
That movie was fucking brilliant. Was the Stairway to Heaven that musical break in the church or the town hall?
That like
No,
that
it's
church scene.
Freebird, isn't it?
Freebird.
Yeah, it is Freebird. But like, yeah, that church scene is like comes out of nowhere. It's just like I'm gonna murder a bunch of it, and I know it's like the thing is he's been triggered by that whatever and like has no control over himself.
Who was the director behind that movie? He did something else that was like that.
Was it the guy?
Mick G.
Did he do Crank?
No, two brothers did the Crank movies.
Oh, I love those. Those are so deliciously bad.
They're amazing. I love them.
Matthew
They are.
Vaughn apparently is the.
Oh,
He did
the
Kings.
Kick-Ass
Yeah, and he did
movies.
Kingsman too.
Well, yes, we were. Yeah,
That's what you just said.
Kick-Ass,
this-
and he also did X-Men First Class.
He's
That's
legit not
Lots-
made a bad movie. He also did Stardust. Like he's kind of great.
He produced Eddie the Eagle, so I'm gonna disagree with you there.
I was not aware of such things. I stand corrected.
Retract his statement immediately.
I will hold a.
It's a roll again. Everybody
I
gets
will,
one.
I'll release a statement saying that I was incorrect.
Just all right, let's move on to past Maximum Carnage and on to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Now, if I remember correctly, this game is terrible.
Yeah, it's not good, and the big glaring thing is no Green Ranger.
Well, I think this was
What the hell?
pre-Green
Like-
Ranger.
Yeah, but the Green Ranger
Yeah.
was like halfway through the first season. Like, so were they in that much of a rush?
Clearly, you've
Most
lost
likely.
track of your past history because you go back and look. The answer is yes. Like what an insane, amazing cash grab that was out the gate. And by the time they got to Green Ranger, that was the
Right.
second wave of toys.
Yep.
Fair
And
enough.
then he became the White
Yeah.
Ranger,
You-
which, well, not
You know what
racist
I
at
was
all.
thinking about recently? That's the most evil thing Power Rangers ever did was Titanus, the Brachiosaurus Zord that would just appear out of nowhere. That looking back was literally just one more extra toy. Where I'm like, that's the most brilliant and naked greed I've ever seen.
That even
Yeah.
beats He-Man.
So you start off the game like you're battling like through the streets without your suit on. Like you're like killing all these henchmen, like, but not turning into a Power Ranger for some reason. Like based on which character you pick, you just like kind of fight your way through it and then get to the final boss and then decide to put on your Power Ranger suit and like battle. So
I was
don't know.
always very anti Power Rangers because I was like, wait, this is just a ripoff of Voltron. I'm like, guys, no. Ignore all this. This is Voltron, you know.
So if you have to do the if you are playing through this game, have to play through the game. If you're playing through this game, like Zack, the Black Ranger, his fighting moves are all like breakdancing fighting moves. So knock yourself out with that because that's probably the most fun you can have with this. But then like when you have your Power Ranger suit, you can like activate special powers based on which Ranger you are. So it's just basically like a simple brawler with like special moves based on which Ranger you're playing as. I don't know. That's about all this game has going for it. There's not much else. It's and then if you get to level 6, you actually battle like as the Megazord.
Zord.
Yeah. So at least it has that going for it. But I don't know.
Yeah,
It was a cash grab. He's exactly.
Am I
Kyle's
the only
exactly
one
right.
that's? Am I the only one that saw the new Mighty
Yes.
Morphin Power Rangers movie?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
As
Well,
much as
I
I
didn't
enjoy
pay to
Elizabeth
see it.
Banks and Bryan Cranston, I could not be sold on that. Sorry.
Well, as a fan of Breaking Bad, I had to see if he was going to tell them Rangers, we need to cook.
So, okay, what's the deal? At the end of the game, you get to finally play as what's the
Megazord.
equivalent of Voltron? Oh, sorry,
Megazord. And then you take a toxic dump in level 6. So I guess you eat some.
But it's a tasteful dump.
You eat some Chipotle.
So is there any like platforming, or is this pure like fighting?
It's a brawler only.
It's just a brawler only.
Yeah.
Do you only fight the putties?
You also fight various genie, like enemies like Genie, Dark Warrior.
Yeah, so there's Bones, Eye Guy. You play that Eye Guy that was like iconic from the TV series. There's a gnarly gnome, which is like a Viking with a rake. Yeah, Genie and Dark Warrior. The other weird thing about this game is it just drops you in. Like there's no plot at all. Like it just like you start like you're the Rangers in a park looking out over the city, and like what's her face, the Elizabeth Banks character,
Rita Repulsa.
Sure. Appears.
That was the right answer. There was no need to be snarky towards him for knowing the answer.
Well, I never watched it. I never watched the show at all. So.
I got no respect here. No respect at all.
The hatred towards him is strong. But yeah, no. So she just appears in the skyline above the city, and like all of a sudden you have to just run off and start battling people. Like you have, there's no explanation as to why you are doing what you're doing at any point.
That's my vague memory of the television show as well. So it's in line. Didn't the Pink Ranger here, the first Pink Ranger, didn't she get fired for like posing for Playboy?
She did porn or something like that.
I don't think so. Amy Jo Johnson?
Whoever
she looks too wholesome.
Pink Ranger is.
Nah, she's like clean as a bean. I think you're confusing it with the fact that people think Austin St. John, the original Red Ranger, is a gay porn actor.
Wow,
that is an urban legend.
That's like that Marilyn Manson was the kid on Wonder Years.
Yes, 100%. That's exactly what it is. And I only know that because we did an episode about Power Rangers on my podcast, and I kept pointing that out until somebody on the show insisted on pointing out that I was wrong and just accusing a total stranger of a thing that they didn't do.
Well, who hasn't done gay porn?
Well,
I mean,
look, man, sometimes you want to go shoot gay porn.
So, yeah, this game.
One of them a killer? Yeah, one of them recently was in the news recently for killing somebody.
Oh,
weren't they?
the Green Ranger, right? Did he murder someone?
No, the only thing that's dead is his career.
No, he's an MMA fighter for Christ now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, so like a more interesting Kirk Cameron.
Yeah. His motto is Jesus didn't tap out.
So it's like he's like Bible Man.
Yes.
Then. Very good.
The guy that played the Red Ranger, what was
Austin St. John.
I had his name. No, it says Medina was brought back to the brand. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so it was the second time Medina was picked up for the killing of some guy of his roommate.
Jesus Christ!
Cool.
All right. Okay.
Ricardo Medina was given over half of the maximum sentence available.
I believe that is Rocky, the second Red Ranger.
Anyway, this game's a cash grab. Skip it. It's not worth playing. But at least we have some fun Power Ranger like lore to add.
Oh, fun fact! If you're saying the Bryan Cranston thing, you know that Billy the Blue Ranger's full name is Billy Cranston, and he's named after Bryan Cranston, who is a friend of the people making Power Rangers, and he's actually the voice of a couple. He is the voice of Snizzard, the evil lizard man.
Wow.
Is that like when they had Jerry Seinfeld be turkey number 3 on South Park?
Or George Clooney as the Stan's gay dog.
Yeah, Sparky. Don't be gay, Sparky.
All right, let's move on. Classified information. Anything interesting here?
Let's see. We have a mid-air refuel code or sequence of events you can do for Airstrike Patrol. Extra continues in King of Dragons.
Unlimited
Last Action
Life.
Hero. Oh my God.
For Last Action
movie.
Hero?
That movie. Oh my God. It's
Can I
so
make a
bizarre.
confession? I secretly love that movie.
It's so odd.
It's
interesting.
insane, and it's such a hot mess.
Yes.
But my God, I find it satisfying sometimes.
It was weird because it was Arnold like
not good.
completely embracing the campiness like of his career arc was kind of what's really enjoyable about it.
It was Arnold Schwarzenegger Inception.
Yes. My roommate and I in college used to just like wait until we were like across the quad from each other and just yell, "The Ripper! He brought back the Ripper!"
I just like the portion when they go to like a video store and they look over and see Sly Stallone in the Terminator and like a
Right.
poster.
And then Schwarzenegger says he should have won an Oscar for that film. And like should have done a Jay and Silent Bob style look at the camera.
Yeah. Jesus, so campy. All right.
All right, then we have
I
some.
can't believe that game is a Super Nintendo game. Look at those graphics.
Yeah, it's.
Those are
pretty bad.
shoddy as. Oh my god, those are terrible looking.
You can invert the players in Super Slapshot. There's some bonus codes for FIFA Soccer, the first version of it. Pack Attack. There's a level skip. Lawnmower Man. You can.
There was a
get Taco Bell
Lawnmower
code.
Man video game.
Oh, you
yeah.
know it. You know it,
It's
son.
It's just
You got
a
this
bunch of
cyber-
lawns and you just like mow them slowly. Like
It's like Paperboy without all the running and down, up and down streets. It's just mowing the grass.
all right,
Oh my
and then
God. What, like the menu here is Cyber Run, Cyber Tube, Virtual World A, Job, IQ Test, Suburbia, and Zorn.
wait, am I thinking of
All
the
hail
right
Zorn.
movie? Is Lawnmower
No,
Man
you're thinking
the
Demolition
movie?
Man.
No.
No.
Lawnmower Man
Oh,
it's the
Mentally
VR
retarded
thing.
lawnmower, like maintenance guy, gets like
Yeah.
hooked up to like a VR machine. He becomes like omnipotent or something.
Yeah, and he hooks up a girl to it to like have like brain sex with her, and he ends up devouring
Yeah, that sounds
her.
about right.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a
Yeah,
is it
kinda.
a horror movie.
Yeah.
All I
Yeah.
know is that he gets like psychic powers or telekinetic powers, and he can control the lawnmower, and it'll like chews up some guy's face.
Speaking of like psychic sex, do you remember that scene from Demolition Man?
Yes.
Where
This is how. And then Sandra
Still
Bullock
don't-
is all. This is how we have sex in the future. Put on this headband.
And doesn't it turn out that she's his daughter? So
Something
he
like
banged
that.
his daughter.
I still want to know what the hell the 3 seashells are for. God damn it! I listened to the entire director's commentary for that film on DVD to find out what the fuck the 3 seashells were. No reveal.
you know what the best director's commentary is? It's like Schwartz and everybody on Grandma's Boy. Like they just talk about all the shit that went down trying to make that movie, and like that's a pretty good director's commentary. I'm a fan of that one.
One of my favorites is for the film Deep Blue Sea.
Oh God.
And it's mostly Rennie Harlan going like, "Oh man, like this was fucking a tough thing to make." And I swear to God, guys, I tried. And Samuel L. Jackson's with him until he dies, and then he leaves the commentary.
That's awesome.
Symmetry.
Way to go.
Motherfucker. It's called synergy.
Oh, have you guys seen any of the director's commentaries for the Arnold Schwarzenegger one on Conan the Barbarian?
Oh no.
Oh, they're freaking hilarious. Him and the director are chatting, and he's just talking over the entire film, like narrating it. Oh, and here's where the wolves come up to Conan, and they are like coming at him and attacking him, and they fell down. See, Conan falls down right here.
I think I might need to watch that.
You'll find, yeah, they have some short clips which are very hilarious on YouTube.
All right, and then not much else. We can
Wolf
get on to the next
Child,
game.
whatever the hell that is. You get invincibility code, Sunset Riders. You can play as the same player if you want to with a special code. And then the Peacekeepers, something called an Anger Attack.
Yeah, I don't. Whatever.
Flynn will turn red with rage, allowing you to defeat all the remaining enemies.
Yeah.
None of these games, by the way, have had any features done on them.
Ben,
So
I bring you closure. I just found an article saying Sandra Bullock explains the seashells in Demolition Man.
Really?
She goes, one moment that stuck with fans for years. After exiting a bathroom, Stallone asks why there's no toilet paper and only 3 seashells on a shelf. He doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells, says fellow cop Rob Schneider, and they all laugh and laugh, but we never found out how the seashells are used until now. On the red carpet for Gravity, MTV News' Josh Horowitz asks Sandra Bullock to
Holy
once and
shit,
for all
balls in the sky.
settle the greatest mystery in movie history. And she says, well, think of a bidet, right? There's several processes. You have 1, 2, and then the cleanup. But it doesn't stop there. Turns out the seashells are also musical instruments. You can use them as little maracas as well, continued Bullock, giving the example of the sort of beat you can drop with the future's answer to toilet paper. You see, it's a musical instrument and a hygiene element.
Huh.
All right.
That's insane.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
All right. Speaking of insane, Pac Man 2: The New Adventures.
So is this based off of the cartoon?
Oh, and John, I got some less than good news for you. It turns out Amy Jo Johnson moved to Canada in 2013 and got Canadian citizenship as well, so she's a dual citizen.
Okay.
So she went to the country that you apparently don't like so much.
I don't dislike Canada. I dislike you.
Well,
All right, I'm just kidding, buddy. I love you. All right. So speaking of disasters, Pac Man 2: The New Adventures. My notes for this game include: Saved by the Bell, the college years. Should never have happened. Any money or time invested in this game is utterly futile. Destroy any copies on site. So yeah, it's basically Pac-Man without the Pac-Man. Like
It's a platformer with Pac-Man in it.
but it doesn't control well, and it involves like walking around a town. I don't know, just everything about this game.
Well, I swear, I don't know why they don't mention it here, but they had a Pac-Man cartoon that looks exactly like this. I do
remember that. I do remember it, but yeah.
This looks like a tie-in to that.
It's just none of this is good. Like, really, none of this is good, unfortunately.
Well, look, Pac-Man's got Miss Pac-Man. They have Baby Pac-Man, which is apparently a girl because you can tell by the bow. And then what, the ghost is friendly? Was that Inky? Is that Inky?
No, I don't think so.
Inky, Binky, Pinky, and Inky, Winky, Pinky, and Clyde were just the servants of some. I forgot who their boss was in the cartoon.
But
the Ghost Witch of Netor.
Yeah.
In the cartoon series, they worked for Mesmeron, who resembles Darth Vader and acts like Gargamel.
I guess.
Well, look, I'm looking right here in the bottom left corner. It says,
that Ben's right. That is the plot. Like this witch controls the ghosts. So
she's stolen the Pac City children's bubble gum.
It does look like you can go to the arcade in this Pac City and play Pac-Man. So this game has that redeeming itself.
That's
like you can
sick.
You can play Pac-Man inside a Pac-Man game.
Huh. So you can play Pac-Man in this game. You just have to work way too hard for it.
Yeah.
Pac-Man 2: The New Adventures. This is lame. The first level involves him going out to get milk for his kid.
Yeah, exactly. It's
God
that
damn
bad.
It. I've done this in real life. I don't use this game.
So Miss Pac-Man doesn't have mammary glands?
She's not producing enough. Don't judge.
That's the same opening that Postal 2 used. Like, unbeknownst to us, they've been ripping off the Pac-Man 2 all this time.
Yeah.
So where do we get to see? What's his name? The little Gary.
Good call, Mike.
Coleman, Gary Coleman. So do we get to see Gary Coleman's cameo?
He's actually inside of the old Pac-Man game. It's now little Gary Coleman chasing the ghosts.
It's just him doing hand puppets above the screen.
Yeah, you get it.
Rob Schneider is Pac-Man. All right.
So his power up is he becomes Super Pac-Man or something with a.
I don't know. Like this
with the
game
cape?
is just this is an abortion of a game.
That's why I love talking about it. It looks so bad.
He has a cape that becomes like a paraglider. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So is it just attached to his face then? Because he has no shoulders for it to hang on.
I don't know.
He just straps like a mask on that also has a cape attached to it.
I don't know.
I'm very confused.
I tried to get into this game and it gave me leukemia and it's just a really bad platformer with like no redeeming qualities to it. It's
Very
if
good.
you took all the joy out of Pac-Man and irradiated it and like it's basically the video game equivalent to that like Sarah McLachlan ad with starving dogs in it.
I will remember you.
Yeah, just nothing is good about this game.
All right.
You know that one of those Sarah McLachlan songs, I think it was Run DMC, it actually like stopped him from killing himself. Because he was like listening to that, and like just when he was thinking about how life's not worth living and all that, he was listening to one of her songs. It was apparently the song that, should be inspiring suicide. And he just saw like, there's so much to life to live for, because there's like beauty in her music and there's still beauty in the world. So, he just got to keep on living because of that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Speaking of wanting to keep on living, let's talk about Legend of Gaia.
There we go.
Illusion of Gaia. Sorry.
So this is an Enix game before they were Square Enix, and this is an action RPG in much the same way of Legend of Zelda, or what's the other one I'm thinking of? Star Tropics.
Star Tropics.
No, you're thinking of Star Tropics.
Oh, Star Tropics.
That one. Yes. So
it's actually in the Soul Blazer series, technically.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It just doesn't feel like the other Soul Blazer games, so it kind of stands alone.
Except there's a secret boss from the original Soul Blazer.
Right, but I'm saying the games have like a much different feel. Like it's not like you playing it, you're not like, oh, this is definitely in that Soul Blazer line. But and it is a little bit weird in the Enix line in that the narrator, like the main character narrates some of it, so like it's not a silent protagonist, so we have that going for us a little bit. It's definitely like kind of an oddball RPG. Did you play it growing up, Mike?
Yep, I enjoyed the hell out of this because you get to tour the world. Mm-hmm. And it's the world we know, like the Nazca lines, the Great Wall of China, the pyramids.
Right. There's Great Wall, Aztec, Egypt. Yeah, you're right. Did you play this at all?
I did not know this game existed until it was on the cover of this Nintendo Power. I was like, wow, this sounds like a lot of fun.
It's an oddball RPG. It's not as great as some of the other. It's not in like the Chrono Trigger realm or anything like that. But I've seen it ranked in the 70s out of like 100 on SNES lists and things like that. So like it's in the upper tier.
Here's what it was like at the time. It's like, okay, you play Legend of Zelda, you like that one. Okay, you played the Game Boy Legend of Zelda, you like that one too. All right, Secret of Mana comes out. Boom. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. This is a great follow-up to, just playing Legend of Zelda.
Notice how he's naming only action RPGs, but all right.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is, if you want your action RPG fix, like this was the next one in line, essentially.
This will keep you tied up until Secret of Evermore comes out. Yeah,
it's like it tides you over, but it's not as good as like Secret of Mana or Legend of Zelda. Leap the Past.
It is. There are some really like, you run around in this game a lot. Like, so it's not like a normal RPG where you're kind of slowly trudging through dungeons and stuff. So like there is a fast-paced feel to like how you move through the areas. So it has that going for it. There's a lot of Mode 7 in the outer world. So like the map is like a pulled-out Mode 7 like 3D isometric view. I don't know. Like there's a lot of weird kind of odd stuff with the game that's still kind of interesting. Yeah.
Yep, and one of the cool things about this game is the level up system, as opposed to grinding, which is the usual way. You only get to advance your stats bit by bit by clearing out all the enemies in a room.
Yes. But
and what is kind of one tiny power up.
What is kind of weird, like you can't go back to an area you've been to. Like there's no backtracking in this game. So once you've cleared an area, it is closed off to you.
Yep, no grinding.
So.
No grinding?
No.
Your mom has that as a rule?
Jesus.
You said it twice. I had to do something. Come on. You left it wide open.
Yes, because you have to keep up with him.
You can't help it. I can't help it. It's a sickness.
It's so all right.
Okay, so you start off in this game as a kid in a small town who just, with little explanation, you just happen to have telekinesis. And all your friends are just like, hey, can you move that statue? And you do it by spinning your flute around by like holding the R button, and you get to move a statue head. And they're like, hey, that's cool, let's play cards. completely downplay the fact that you have the ability to manipulate outside matter with your thoughts. But, I want to see who can win at Crazy Eights. So, you come home and you meet this girl who's, like, in your house, and then the guards come in and finds out she's, like, the princess. And then you end up being summoned to the castle to give a ring to the king, and you don't have this ring, and you're like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about, and then he throws you in jail. Which is a great use of royal power. And then you end up escaping and meeting this force called Gaia, which bestows upon you the power to take on shadows, like shapes of the past. So you get to take on the shape of the warrior Friedan, which is the guy we saw on the cover, because he's the guy with the sword. Will just usually has like short range and he beats things with his flute. And no, that's not a euphemism.
So it's like you can do like form of whatever, like you can do that trick pretty much.
It will not on demand. You have to go to these save spots.
Okay.
To be able to visit the Gaia statues to do that, and you will, instead of thinking like, well, now I got to stay in this powered up form. No, Will can access things and he has this telekinesis. This guy I think doesn't, but he can like beat things to hell with his sword, and he's got like longer reach in battle. So they all have different uses, and you will acquire different shapes as the game progresses. But there's this one spot in the story where you end up on this golden ship of the Incas after finding the Inca statue,
right.
The island of Inca statues. But then it turns out that it's just an illusion, and you're stuck on this rotted ship that breaks apart into basically all that's left is a raft. You lose all your friends except you're stuck on the thing.
Oh, you see that raft
with the princess
on like page 60. You can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you end up having to just like put up with her talking while you end up like beating fish and getting on the raft to eat until eventually you get scurvy and pass out.
Speaking of beating fish, how's the dating life been?
Oh, I knew this was going long.
Oh, but then like the real kicker at the end is you come across this starving village and they try to eat you because they're starving, and then the princess's pet pig sacrifices himself by jumping into the fire.
Jesus.
So that they have something to eat besides you.
Okay.
Good old Porky.
I think his name was Hamlet.
Does he come back later in the game as like Porky's Revenge?
Yes, there's the mini game where you have to run naked down the street because you're being chased by rednecks.
God, those are great movies. Phenomenal. All right. Should we move on past this game?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
great game. Check it out.
I will totally have to look into that because that does sound legit kind of awesome.
So,
It's good.
do you have any experience with Brain Lord, Mike?
Brain Lord, the next game. What the hell is Brain Lord? It's another action RPG?
It's a weird game. Yeah, it's another RPG. So
An action RPG on the Super Nintendo?
It's made by Enix, so I probably
Now I've
did.
seen everything.
So, yeah, let's see. My notes are incredibly tough difficulty. The Seventh Saga developers made this game. It was published by Enix. Action RPG with platforming, though with terrible collision detection. And you collect fairies that act sort of like protective Pokemon that like float around you and like give you extra abilities to like fight off enemies. There's a lot of puzzles to like push plates and stuff like that to get through the different dungeons. But eventually you end up in a bunch of dungeons that there's no light, so you can't see the floor, and the floors move. So good luck figuring out where you're supposed to go in these areas in the game.
I'm looking at this page 75 where you are killing a massive cockroach.
Right. Yeah.
And that's got me interested. Like, I'm just like, I have to fight a giant cockroach. All right, I'm down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
overall the graphics are a little bit worse than some of the other action RPGs, but then the graphics for the bosses are amazing.
Yeah.
The cockroach is like really impressively rendered,
Yeah.
and then, like the gravity god towards the end.
I watched the
It's
review
impressive.
that Super Derek did on this as my prep for this, and he said it was a game that like I hated so much that like it became like permanently attached to me like growing up.
Wow.
He's like, it's just such a like. There's so much wrong with this game that like it's kind of you fall in love with like Stockholm syndrome. Was how he was describing it. I don't know if he does great RPG reviews. By
The
the
only
way.
way I could get past this game was to accept it.
Yeah, he said like I ended up with $40 in late fees trying to like, partially because like I had to convince myself to play this game as a kid, like, but I had to get through it, like I had to beat it. So yeah, I don't know. I have a very hard time recommending this based on what I saw about it, but
And what's to do with the cover art here? It looks like a
Floating City,
early '90s PC game cover.
It reeks of
yeah, it looks
mist.
like, straight
Yeah.
up Ultima or Mist or you're right.
Like it has
so.
nothing to do with the game. It's just like a piece of fantasy art.
Yeah,
It's like straight up Riven.
Floating,
freaking.
I don't know why that's so funny to me. Just, you're a straight Riven.
Straight out of Riven.
Hardcore gangster Riven.
Yo, dog, I heard you like puzzles, so I got you some puzzles.
That spider chair puzzle in Riven, oh my god. Like, that's impossible. Like, that, fuck that game.
both of those games, like the way you try and figure it out is you just click randomly over the screen. Oh, nothing
Yeah.
click here. Next
Except
screen,
spider
next
chair,
place.
you can't. Like, it's one of the hardest puzzles in, like, any game ever.
Yeah.
So... I can't recommend this game, unfortunately. It's, like, there's too many other good RPGs. But, Mike, if you want to fight the cockroach, let me know. Good, go ahead, knock yourself out.
All right, next section is Counsellors Corner. First counselor we have is Kirk Buchanan telling us about Breath of Fire.
God, he's, like, channeling his Josh Brolin.
Yeah,
He
right?
is.
He looks like a 20-year-old Stephen King.
Good call.
All the counselor photos are a thing that I feel like
Yeah.
if there's one tragedy of this podcast being a audio format, it is losing the counselor photos.
Oh, don't worry.
don't
we
worry.
we every issue that's our highlight is. Though, unfortunately, earlier on in the run, like they had literally like the Playmate stats pretty much for the.
Oh,
they were like
God,
favorite,
yes.
Favorite game, like biggest video game
Hobbies,
achievement. Yeah,
I think John finally found the reason for Kyle to check out our archive.
The hobbies.
yeah. But yeah, so,
Well,
I
it's
just want
like
to
they
know
weren't
which
even
ones want to be fun and go on adventures.
right.
Yeah, the photos weren't even professionally done either. It's like they just literally grabbed onto the floor that day and like, hey, we're taking your picture. So the hair's all over the place, got the wispy mustaches, the mullets, the early '90s
It's
clothing.
everybody going like, well, John Romero seems like a cool looking guy. I'll just take that look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
after all, like, how could I not be impressed after he told me he's going to make me his bitch?
So let's see. Kirk has Breath of Fire tips about why do animals appear in the overworld. I mean, sorry, and what are the dragon emblems for? All right.
Absolutely nothing.
Then we have Paul Hawkins telling us about Super Metroid.
Paul Hawkins
Man,
probably
the
the best of the photos this issue.
Yeah, with the shading on it, he looks like he belongs like in a friggin' movie poster next
Yeah.
to his villain.
His head should be floating next to another floating head.
Yeah, should figure out who he faces off with.
Kind of like he's like Tony Shalhoub and David Blaine had a baby.
So he tells us how to refill energies using the power bomb. So if you've got a bunch of weapons and not much health, guess what? You can blow yourself up back to health. It's like pushing the needle past your damage so that it turns around the other end.
All right.
And then how do you escape from the Edakun's pit, telling you how to do the wall jump, and then how to get that grappling beam.
Let's
And
see.
then Tia Emil tells us about Tetris 2 for Zephyr NES.
It's Game Boy.
Game Boy.
It's red, so it says that would indicate NES, but the colors
Yeah.
indicate otherwise.
Maybe it's like a Super Game Boy screenshot.
okay.
For the
They're,
NES.
they're cheating
it
here.
looks bad.
I think it's because the green doesn't play real well in print.
Right.
No, the purple doesn't play well in print, but that's the next one.
Yeah.
So Tia looks like they grabbed the local librarian and just shoved her in.
It definitely looks like a yearbook photo from 1985.
Yeah.
It's like the girl that failed the audition for Barb in Stranger Things.
Jeez.
Oh, and then we have the star of the show, Fred Hildebrand for Donkey Kong for Game Boy. You can't even see his mouth or jaw. It's all in
God,
shadow.
you know he fucking loved that picture.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Fred is the acquaintance friend that's like way too into up close magic.
Yeah, 100%. I was gonna say he looks like a guy who's gonna say to you, "Dude, you have got to read some more Clive Barker."
It will change you like it did me.
God.
Yeah, he's the guy that's sitting in the gaming shop, quote unquote gaming shop, the tabletop gaming shop, all the time.
Knows his way
But
around a close ponytail.
And he knows like
Yeah.
300 facts about why 9/11 was an inside job.
And
I know the truth.
and also has a copy of Dune he's ready to lend you. He's like, I buy extras because I'm just always trying to get people to read it.
They don't always give it back.
No, you know what? Keep it. I just want to know that you enjoy it.
And then he asks you about it like incessantly.
Oh,
every time you see him
yeah.
after
For
that.
sure. That is the last time you go to that bookshop. Because you're like, well, I guess I can never come here again.
All right. So, players challenge. Anything in here?
What is it?
Never
So
is.
the Dick Nose Drawer art, though, what the hell is the guy holding on the left?
It's like a.
Buzzsaws?
It's like a feathery buzzsaw out of the letters
Yeah,
P
they're
and
like-
C.
They're
Oh,
woodworking.
they're made out of Sonic the Hedgehog skulls.
Oh. Wow.
It's like that scene in Predator 2 where you see the alien skull. This is Nintendo's version of that.
Yeah.
Lovely.
All right.
Game Boy section, finally. Next up, we have Mega Man 5.
I have no notes on any of these games because I gave up.
Well, they're all
so-
just sort of, minor ports of the Nintendo games with fewer bosses. Sort of matched up.
Rush has a cat friend now?
Hold on, what now?
Look at the front cover. We get to see Rush, and next to him is a green cat.
Oh, he's
Oh,
got
yeah, that is crazy. That looks like that Rocket Cat from that PlayStation 1 game.
Apparently he's called Tango.
Tango is the name of the cat.
Tango and
Here,
cats.
kitty, call upon Tango, and a spinning buzzsaw companion will join you on screen. Tango will bounce around to help you take on the evil enemies.
Elements.
Oh my gosh.
Elements.
I got the massive smiley face for the Super Game Boy, letting you know, like, this is gonna make your eyes happy.
And then Mega
Yeah,
Man
I
has
mean-
a mega arm shot, so his actual arm flies off and hits something.
Oh, that's cool. Oh my gosh! And then when we see Dr. Light's lab in the last insert, we get to see them fighting the iconic eye monster.
Mm-hmm.
But this one he's called Dark Moon, and it looks like he's come down with a case of acne.
So they basically ported 5, but you only get 5 bosses. Let's say Mars, Mercury, Venus, and Neptune. 4 bosses?
Like they
That sounds
fought on
about right.
planets. They fought on planets.
Yeah, that's what's listed
looks
here.
like it, yeah.
Sheesh.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty common. I mean, if you play these games, they're played really well. Controls are really nice. Level
Oh
design's
wait, no.
great.
There's like 8 because there's Mercury, Venus, Mars, Neptune, Pluto, Jupiter, Uranus, and Saturn. So there's all right.
Except it turns out that in 2009 they declared that Pluto wasn't really a boss.
That's a topical joke.
Nice. Yep, that's timely.
Are you getting to replace Conan O'Brien on The Tonight Show?
What was
I'm
the
with Coco.
What was the Rick and Morty joke where like Hammer Eye shows up
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's like, wow, like, early 90s Conan. Like, what It was like Abraham Lincoln and Hammer Eye
That's
or
it.
something like that. Okay.
Well, wasn't that like Abraham Linkler?
That's it.
Oh, that was at the
Yeah.
party.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, so I don't feel like we need to cover this anymore. I mean, if you want
no.
to play Mega Man games, play the old school Nintendo ones, essentially.
Yeah.
But if you
Or the Super.
but if you play only
No.
one version of Mortal Kombat 2, let it be the Game Boy version.
Oh yes.
Oh, look at the graphics on this.
Oh my goodness.
It's
They're using
blue,
a
double D.
They've used the blue tint on Super Game Boys. Everything's really cool looking.
Oh, God.
Everyone is Sub-Zero.
God, this just looks so shitty.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
I had the Game Boy version of the first Mortal Kombat, so it wasn't
my God,
terribly
look
good.
at everybody here is Sub-Zero. Number 2, Sub-Zero. Number 4, Sub-Zero. Number 7, Sub-Zero.
Yeah, they still only have 8 characters in the Game Boy version, and for some reason they kept the 3 characters that look exactly the same.
Oh my God, that is so bad.
No, Scorpion's facing the camera.
Oh, silly me.
You know they did that because they're cheap. They didn't
No,
want to
not
pay
cheap.
to
They
do.
only the resources on that cartridge are limited. That's the
Oh,
problem.
you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. Anyways,
So,
don't do it.
and speaking of not doing it,
Play
Yogi's
the
Gold
arcade port.
Rush.
Oh yes,
Oh, here we
this is
go.
the game of the show.
Who, it's crazy, did request to be directly after Mortal Kombat 2. But ended for a crazy time.
My notes for this game are mushrooms are enemies. Good job confusing kids. Like, that's literally as far as I can make it into this game. It's just an awful platformer.
Yep.
I feel like this was always the game that was like in your cousin's Game Boy when like you were hiding out and trying to play their Game Boy while you were at an event.
Yeah.
just in case you snaked it from him, you got punished.
You're like, all right, well, he's playing in backyard, playing sports, but I know he has a Game Boy in his room. Then you just sit down and you turn on and it's Yogi Bear picnic Game Boy game, and you're just like, oh fuck, oh well.
Yeah.
It beats running.
And you go give him a freaking dead arm for it, and he has no idea why.
I feel so bad for the poor bastards. They had to play this game and take screenshots of the entire level design, and you can see where they manually paste all the screenshots together with the little lines.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid Nightmare Factory.
That is horrifying.
This is just
You could not pay me enough
no.
to sit there and do that. Especially with like the shit where like, oh no, we need the blank area in the sky. You know, there's nothing up there. Well, show them jumping in the air then.
And when you look at the page 97 for the bonus drop, it just looks like they're just straight out ripping assets right out of Yoshi's cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, no, nothing about this game is redeeming.
All right. John, tell us about some good news about the Players Poll contest.
All right, well, for third prize, we have, as every month, the Nintendo Power T-shirts. They're no longer calling them jerseys.
Because these aren't jerseys, because they have pockets.
They've never
I
been
know.
jerseys.
They called them jerseys before.
They may have been jerseys, but these are shirts because they got pockets.
Oh, I gotta kill you guys. All right, anyway, second prize. 5 winners will get an autographed replica of Troy Aikman's Dallas Cowboys football jersey, as well as a copy of Troy Aikman NFL football for your Super Nintendo from Williams Entertainment. And the grand prize winner this month will get a Beat Troy's caddy at the annual Troy Aikman Foundation Celebrity Golf Tournament in Dallas.
Great, so we get to watch a football player play golf.
Not even his real caddy, he's honorary caddy.
Honorary caddy, so you get to lug his bag around all day.
You get to carry the caddy shit.
Yeah, you get to be his professional caddy's bitch, basically, for the day.
And then you get to see other NFL stars play golf, as well as taking home the jersey and getting the copy of the game. So you get to go meet Troy Aikman and be his bitch for the day.
God, can you imagine just like you win this and you're like a little too old for it, but then you and Troy Aikman just get like coked up and go to a strip club?
You're not going to tell them about this, right?
Yeah,
No.
this is pre-concussion Troy Aikman too, or at least he's only had like 3 or 4, so he's not completely loopy at this point.
He's
So-
just really brave.
Yeah, so there is a pretty nice photo of like Troy Aikman and Emmett Smith on a golf cart with, I don't know, some pedophile as well, just on the shirt.
He's honorary caddy,
Phil Hutchinson.
straight from the halfway house.
He's hoping it's like a 9-year-old boy that he gets to watch him work the ball washer all day, if you know what I mean.
Well, they never mentioned what the charity was, so it's
Yeah, the charity is Troy Aikman's foundation, so it's literally like
Recovering
Troy Aikman
Chomos.
money for Troy.
The charity is Lamba.
Lambda. Or whatever.
Nambla, that's
Nambla.
it.
Nambla, there we go.
it's recovering
All
Chomos.
right, Ben. What do we have?
Top
Or actually,
20.
Let's give Kyle the top What's the top 5 for Super Nintendo for 1994?
All right, well,
Start at number
5. We are looking at Super Street Fighter 2 at number 1, and it's been on for 4 months. Ken Griffey Jr. Presents MLB at number 2, and it's been on for 7 months. Super Metroid is at number 3, and it's been on for 6 months. And it's still fun reading this magazine going like, man, just the people who play Super Metroid are going, I don't get this game. What are you trying to do? NBA Jam's at number 4, and The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past is at number 5.
Which would your favorite of that list be?
That's tough. Probably NBA Jam. All things considered, I enjoy Street Fighter quite a bit, but I'm very bad at it. It's just a thing I have enthusiasm for. Metroid and Zelda are clearly classics, but I would say of those 5 games, the one that I've put the most time into by a wide margin would be NBA Jam. I fucking love the NBA Jam games.
Link to the Past, though, oh my god, like might be the best game of all
Sure,
time.
but can you light up basketball on fire in that game?
That is accurate. That is not one of the.
The second I see that being a thing I can unlock in the Codes and Hint Masters section.
Can you play as Bill Clinton in that game?
Yeah. Tell you what, as soon as Legend of Link to the Past gets big head mode, I'm all there.
All right, Ben, what's going on with the Game Boy?
All right, Game Boy. Number 5, we have Kirby's Dream Land. Number 4, we have Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins. Number 3, Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Number 2, Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3. And number 1, for 5 months, we have Donkey Kong.
All right, Mike, take us home.
Okay, number 5, Super Mario Brothers 3.
For the NES, let's just...
As featured in the film The Wizard.
good old Fred Savage.
How the fuck did everybody know how to get the secret whistle when this game apparently had just been announced and no one had played it yet?
There's a deleted scene where Steve Guttenberg walks in and says, everybody, make sure to tell him to use the whistle. All right, I gotta go. He was never seen in a film again.
Or in Hollywood.
He's still trapped in that movie, and that will be what the sequel is. It's like Tron Legacy, but with the VHS tape of The Wizard.
Oh, God. All right.
Wizard Legacy.
All right.
Okay, so
There's a real good chance if the 4 of us submitted that script, it could get made next year.
Disney's just like, well, we need something for Tron 3. Well, let's just make it the Wizard.
Like with the way that Universal's looking at Disney with some of their stuff, they're like, oh man, what if we reminded people that they liked a movie they didn't like?
We have to make a cinematic universe, though. It can't just be one thing.
Like,
you'll know. This ties us. This is our Rosetta Stone, our Iron Man that sets us up for the Nintendo Cinematic Universe.
So is this other shitty video game movies with Steve Guttenberg trapped in them?
Well, I mean, Steve Guttenberg is sort of our Tony Stark, he basically ends up becoming what's the Nintendo Maniac guy who got fired?
Howard Phillips.
Howard Phillips. He is Howard Phillips.
Got fired.
And he takes us through and he's like a dimension hopping creature, or like Beyonder type who picks up people
like Mr. Mixix.
Yes, exactly like that. And he takes us through, and he takes fun kids into the world of Zelda, and then pulls them out, and it's ultimately leading to your Avengers type film, Super Smash Brothers.
Oh, I like it.
There we
Killed
go.
Where he actually becomes corrupted and turns into Master Hand.
Yeah, what terrible video game movies can be brought back? Like Surf Ninjas Ride Again. Like I mean,
Double Dragon.
I want to point out I own Surf Ninjas on DVD.
No.
Whoa!
I went out of my way to
No
own
adult
that film.
should admit to that.
I'm a Ernie Reyes Jr.'s fan, man.
Oh man.
Leslie Nielsen is amazing in that.
That movie is actually pretty good across the board. Like, anybody who decides that they're going to defend Ninja Turtles 2, which is a bucket of shit. The first one's my favorite movie of all time.
Terrible.
Second one is a bucket of shit, and Surf Ninjas is a better movie than it in every way.
Oh man.
Because someone actually uses
the
weapons.
Game Gear as a plot device is probably
amazing.
one of the best product placement.
The second best, the first being the NES Advantage used to pilot the Statue of Liberty in Ghostbusters 2.
Fully agree. Although I would argue that maybe the Game Gear takes number 1 just because it's like, oh, cool, you can control the Statue of Liberty. Our video game system can play God.
Yeah, exactly. I can control the universe with my Game Gear.
All right, you win that grappling contest. This is the one time where the Game Gear actually supersedes a Nintendo product.
Though it did run out of batteries 30 seconds after.
Oh yeah. No, your god is constantly dying and in need of 11 D batteries.
Your victory is only 35 minutes long.
He has to get the Allspark and plug it into it in order to use
That
it.
should be like a new version of speed running. Is having to speed run through Game Gear games before the battery dies.
Oh. No, you should have to force them to like swap out batteries while they're playing, without
Jesus,
without
a
the
hot
thing
swap?
turning off. Yes.
Hot swap.
One battery at a time. Just
You have to.
Like when they're
Yeah.
hot swapping the dicks in Silicon Valley.
Exactly.
Alright. Okay, so who cares about the rest of the NES? Let's
yeah. And then we got Now Playing, where we get to talk about the reviews of the games, the quick positives and negatives for Illusion of Gaia. We see great graphics, fun story, great variety gameplay, lots of depth. The best adventure game of the year, an exclusive Nintendo Power Explorer's Guide comes with the game. However, more linear than Zelda games, but the plot is more involved as well. Players will want even more.
I love that the negatives are, it's too good.
We've seen some of those. We've seen like very few of those.
They can get snarky though.
They can, yeah.
Oh yeah, they get catty, but there are like on some undisputed good games. Like one of the negatives will be like, this only has like 6 amazing levels.
All right, Ben,
You'll-
what's going on with Super Punch Out?
Super Punch Out says, excellent, challenging graphics, battery backed up memory, a classic with a new look and lots of new characters. Much improved over the arcade version. However, your fighter is still limited to a single position in the ring, may be more challenged than some players are looking for.
Yeah, that's probably true. The timing on that game is tough. All right, let's see. Sorry.
I was about to say, Kyle, do you want to tell us about Spider-Man and Venom?
I do. It has excellent graphics and story and a special collector's edition. It's got great sound and varied gameplay. You can enjoy that great sound from green jello. But it's got an uneven challenge. It's a straight street fighting scenarios are too easy, while other areas provide better challenge and are more interesting to play. That's such a confusing. Like I feel a little less aware as a consumer now.
Man, they were asking $75 for that game too. Yikes.
Holy shit!
What's the red cartridge? They have to pay for the red paint. Like,
I think it was just a limited edition. I don't think it was.
That orphan blood ain't cheap.
I love that
Yeah,
other
right.
games were like, fuck it, we're not going to tell you how much we cost, but Spider-Man and Venom is just like, yeah, expensive.
Power Rangers, you'll pay. It doesn't matter what the price is, you'll pay it.
yeah, your kid brother will make you buy this. All right, so from Bandai, Power Rangers. Let's see. Excellent graphics and gameplay, fast action, and lots of movements. Any of the 4 Power Rangers can be used in any stage for great variety. However, the game starts off slowly, and you need to give it some time. All right.
Aren't
well,
there
let's
5
give Mike
Power
Final
Rangers?
Fantasy. There's the green one is.
No, he's the 6th Power Ranger. There are 5 Power Rangers.
Yeah, so they got that
I call
wrong.
bullshit, Nintendo.
And that they typoed that.
The copy editing is not stellar for some of this stuff. So, Mike, what's going on with? We'll give Mike Final Fantasy 3.
Okay, Final Fantasy 3. A big game that will take at least 100 hours to complete. Well, no, I beat it in 80. Battery backed up
Oh,
memory
look at
with 3 slots. Lots to see and do.
Speaking of 3 slots, how's your mom?
Fuck off. Story is on and sappy. Not written for an American audience. How fucking dare you, sir? Animations are weak and animated sequences take too long. Bullshit.
I gotta read a
I
little
love
more of the
one of the
Pac-Man.
negatives. Kinda Asian.
The Asian.
Too Japanesey.
Kind of slanted. All right. All right, Ben.
All right.
What's
So
going on with
Pac-Man
Pac-Man?
2: The New Adventures.
This looks like a good write-up. We might have to read this.
Yeah, I
one.
want to read this whole write-up because it's interesting how they talk about it. They say, to play this game, you have to think of Pac-Man as a real person. Your job is to make him notice things and perform actions. The only means of doing this at your disposal is a slingshot. So you shoot stuff to make Pac-Man react. The only problem is that Pac-Man is an idiot. Lovable, yes. Smart, yeah, like a rock. But it's almost as fun watching the wonderfully animated Pac-Fool bumble about as it is to get him to solve a puzzle correctly. Of course, if there's a real emergency, he could turn to Super Pac-Man and absorb up the danger. There's four stages of increasingly complex adventure puzzles to solve. You'll wish there were more. If you are curious about just how human a video game character can be, turn to this month's review. It says, one of the most unique games to appear in years, a whole new style of play, excellent graphics and animation, Ms. Pac Man and Baby Pac Man also included. However, hands-off style of play can be frustrating since you never directly control Pac Man, and he has the intelligence of a signpost.
Take that.
Oh, that's just brutal. Brutal. Kyle, tell us about
Brain Lord. It's tough, challenging, engaging, battery backed up memory, adventure, and RPG fans should love it. But overhead view isn't as attractive as Zelda or Mana, and not as good for combat. Wait, I love that they have Virtual Bart and Wild Guns in this, but neither of those were actually in the issue.
Yeah, it's weird because I know Wild Guns is next month's issue. And I think Virtual Bart.
Because Wild Guns is a great game, and Virtual Bart is a weird ass thing.
Yeah,
well, tell us about Wild
interesting
Guns,
enough
then.
to get its own game. It's a Simpsons game, for freak's sake.
Yeah,
Cover that
it's
shit.
and you're talking to a guy who runs a Simpsons trivia show, so I'm just like, I'm invested in this.
Maybe you should handle the next two then, since you happen to love Wild Guns.
Well, I mean, all I know about Wild Guns is that it has good graphics and control, and that both male and female heroes are available. But that means they're single, by the way. Like, there are side missions where it becomes a Japanese dating sim, and you can eventually fuck them. But
How do I get John Wayne-san to notice me?
but there's not as much shooting as in some other games. So if you're playing like this game, you're just like, R-Type had way more death and murder and shooting. I'm pushing the button nowhere near as much.
And I'm assuming you played Virtual Bart a fair bit.
I've only gotten to touch it a little bit on emulator and stuff like that. It's an excellent Simpsons-esque graphics. It looks and sounds like the show. It's a fun idea, and some areas are fun. Although many areas suffer from awkward play control and unclear goals.
Well, you know, just about every other Simpsons game.
Well, it's a weird game because it's totally an amalgamation of like 8 or 9 different mini games. As opposed to like it's a strange game. I rented it a few times growing up, but
so it's kind of like the Nightmare one.
Yeah, it's similar. Bart's Nightmare is definitely more of like a platformy thing. This one has it's an interesting concept in a lot of ways that just sort of like, why does this exist?
Okay.
All right, Bubsy 2 from Accolade, $70 game.
God, can you imagine paying $70 for Bubsy 2?
I'm sorry.
See, excellent animation, more interesting and varied gameplay than the original. Good sound and play control. However, Bubsy's clever gag lines get very old, uneven stages, some great and some edging towards the tedious, as well as some stages that offer very little challenge.
Mike, tell us about Ultima, Ruins of Virtue 2.
It says, good depth and an interesting story. Lots of exploring, items, and puzzles. Good sound. More of an adventure than an RPG. Battery backed up memory. However, poor play control makes playing this game a chore rather than the pleasure it should be. Overhead perspective is awkward. And I've never played an Ultima game. Has anybody here done that?
The Ultima Online games?
No.
Nope.
No.
And then next up we have Yogi Bear for Super Nintendo, and it describes the game type as cartoon action for one bear.
Remember that movie poster for the Yogi Bear movie with like it has Yogi
Oh my
behind,
God, that's
and it
so
goes
creepy.
It says great things come in bears, and it's like Yogi standing behind Boo Boo.
Oh, so creepy. Yeah, so the storyline in here is
I'm harder than the average bear.
Oh, jeez. It says some dastardly fiends are building a chemical plant in Jellystone Park, and only Yogi can warn Ranger Smith. So it says
I think the tagline should have been barely legal.
pretty graphics and nice music should appeal to a younger audience or parents who object to violence. This is an exceptionally non-violent game. Although Yogi doesn't break any new ground, it's a well-done platform game. However, a little variety and a modest challenge.
It's actually a game where Yogi is constantly bringing people back to life and overpopulating the world.
It's like the opposite of death. You're bringing life into the world. Too much life, in
It's
fact.
the opposite of Kingsmen.
Oh, you missed the beginning line that says, according to GameTech Cybersoft, 1995 will be the year of Yogi.
I mean, we all remember 95, like the living through the
Yeah.
Yogi administration.
Do you guys remember like when they had all like the junior cartoons come out and they had like young Yogi Bear and like friends?
Yeah, like
Okay.
young Indiana Jones, a pup named Scooby-Doo.
It's so bad. So bad. It's just like, oh, here's young Yogi Bear wearing sunglasses and neon
It
scarf.
was that like it was just the Muppet Babies like sparked this run of like.
Muppet Babies was excellent.
Yeah, it was the original idea, and then everyone else like sucked that freaking well dry.
It's awful.
I don't know. Would anybody here have not watched a kid Doctor Who?
I would probably pass on that.
Hard pass.
Ooh. Never
Alright.
dived into the Who, or no, dived into the Who world and was like, I don't know if I need to live here. It's
Yeah,
it's
like everybody has that. Everybody has those friends that are just like too much into Doctor Who, and it's like, yeah, it's entertaining and good, but I don't know if it's like transcendent television. I don't know.
it's always been a little cute for me. Like it
Yeah.
gets real cheeky and like winks at you and goes to like, aren't we fun for all being so clever? I'm like, look, man, I don't need a TV show that gives me the same feeling I get listening to NPR.
I'm a science wizard.
I'm Ira Glass, and you're traveling through time.
I mean, the Doctor is ostensibly just like a less cool Ira Glass.
Yeah, he's okay. Well, let's be honest. He's like a subdued Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, like
depends on who's
and
playing
it's as
this
awful
as
as
well.
that sounds when it's said out loud. No, and it's a fun show, but it's one of those things where I was always like, guys, come on, there's a lot of cool shit out there.
yeah.
All right.
There's other great shows too.
Look, I thank you for your service in keeping Hot Topic open, but still.
Them and the Harry Potter fans. Very similar
You
fan
can't
base.
say nothing about
Yeah,
them. They'll find you.
I love that.
Oh,
And they're
I
like,
know.
I'm such a nerd. I like Doctor Who. Like, oh.
I always look at Harry Potter fans the same way I'm afraid of people on 4chan. Where, like, I'm not saying nothing because they will dox me and my loved ones.
I have nothing against them. It's
Oh,
just like
no,
I
I
don't
have
get it.
Nothing
you know?
against them and their beloved thing, and there's no reason that you should be doxing me when clearly Ben is the man who seems to have the problems. And we should all know where he lives.
John, remember when we saw that? Remember we saw that whole group of grown men and women playing Quidditch in a field
Oh yeah.
at ASU?
What I yelled something pretty homophobic
Oh
at him.
no,
if I
you
remember
didn't!
right.
You rolled down the window. You were driving your U-Haul. You were moving. I rolled down the window and I just go, "Harry Potter,
You're
That's
a loser,
right.
Harry.
you're
That was
Harry."
that was when my mom got pulled over for running a red light trying to keep up with us. That's right.
Oh, that's right. Good times. All
right.
right, I got to read the
Yes,
synopsis of the next game here.
Okay. All right.
Kid Clown and Crazy Chase says Princess
if Crazy
Honey.
had started with a K, that would have been better.
Princess Honey of Clown Planet has been space napsed by the bumbling bad guy Blackjack.
Is this like ICP the game?
May as well be.
All right, can we all stop for a second and think about the idea that we sent astronauts to another planet and they land and they find out it's a clown planet? Can you imagine how quickly we would be sending nuclear weapons to that planet? Like, that's like a Blackwater conspiracy where you don't even tell, like, the people of your country about it. Like, you just eliminate that problem and then never speak
Yep.
of it again.
It's where
We
you
don't
like,
know what
you just
happened to the
tell people,
spacecraft.
Like, yeah, it was like the planet was completely radiated. Like it was a danger to the rest of the solar system. We just had to get rid of it. Like,
Rise of the Planet of the
Like-
Clowns.
Because just the idea, just landing on this planet that can totally support life, but the entire planet is populated by biological clowns.
Yeah.
what's that one? There's that dilapidated old clown motel in the middle of Nevada. It's like the most haunted hotel in America. It's
Wait,
like
what
absolutely
is
terrifying.
this?
There's like the clown. I'll find a link and I'll message it to everyone. It's absolutely terrifying. It's
Oh,
this like
the-
rundown hotel called like the Clown Hotel.
Oh, you just sent it to me. I actually work with a guy who he is actually an
Tonopah,
actual
Nevada.
ghost hunter.
Yeah, it's like haunted and
Oh
terrifying.
shit! I just was in a film festival with a thing and somebody shot at this. Like
Oh, God.
I just watched like a 35-minute short film set here.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
You mean Sweet Dreams, Nevada's creepy clown
Yeah.
motel?
Yep, that's it.
Oh my god, that's so funny. I thought I was wondering where they found that, and as it turns out, it's a terrifying thing that we need to burn.
Okay.
Oh my god. Like you need to have the gathering of the Juggalos take place here and then drop a cage over the whole thing.
Look, man, the Juggalos are just out to have a good time. This thing is clearly evil.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway.
My wife
Yeah.
looks at.
That's nightmare fuel right there. I'm sorry.
My wife periodically looks at like house listings for fun. She's like an HGTV addict, and sometimes she'll send me some of the listings that are a little off. And
Oh, was that a cat thing?
no, this is before
we
that.
could buy this cheap and flip it.
The cat one was tame compared to the clown one. I mean,
God.
literally wall to wall all over was just shelves and shelves and shelves of like porcelain clowns. These are in the
mean-
photos that they're taking of the house to sell it, and they left
Obviously,
shit
you can
in the
get rid of
house.
that, but like, oh no, thanks. Like seriously.
Like, what would possess a person? You're trying to sell the house, you leave that shit up everywhere.
Probably someone died and they're trying to sell it. They don't want to go through the whole.
No,
Would be my
if that was the
guess.
case, you would want to hide everything and just like, no, let's make it look as good as possible and sell it. Let's not scare people away as soon as they see the photos.
Anyway, all right.
All right, what else about Kid Clown? Kid Clown, the
Blackjack,
klutziest
Kid Clown. Yeah.
kook
Sorry.
in the kingdom,
God, there's so many K's.
is to say, and the bad guy is Blackjack.
Yeah.
The KKK is after black. All right.
Is there a superpower with a hood involved? Okay,
It's his ghost power.
yeah.
He shoots flaming crucifixes at them.
So they say that it's a
No.
fun slapstick animation and graphics, and
Becca,
interesting new
all while
perspective.
he's dodging flying axes, exploding bombs, and blasting water mains.
Yeah.
So somebody's hooking axes at this fucking dorky clown.
Why wouldn't you?
Fair.
You have to make him run at the screen, so it's an interesting perspective.
Oh, it's kind of like Temple Run, but like at you.
Yeah, it's like reverse Paperboy. Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay.
so
What do they have to say about it?
Fun slapstick animation and graphics, an interesting new perspective. However, control can be awkward at first. The theme is pretty young, but older gamers will also enjoy a quick run through.
Okay. Fatal Fury Special. Let's quickly get through these. Good graphics in play. More options in Fatal Fury 2. The best Fatal Fury to date. We can fight in front of Mount Rushmore apparently as well, so that's pretty cool. Control has been tightened up, making competition of combinations more difficult. Oh, making completion of combinations more difficult. Less forgiving than other Fatal Furies. Die-hard fans are the only ones who will have the patience to master this one. Ugh,
and on the
no
insert,
thanks.
we get to see apparently Master Roshi.
All right. We want to do Mega Man 5, Mike?
Sure, it says, excellent action play with good use of Super Game Boy graphics. Graphics also look sharp on the regular Game Boy. However, the game just doesn't seem long enough, especially when you sit down with the Super Game Boy and cruise.
And what's going on with Mortal Kombat 2, Kyle?
I mean, it's got excellent action and great graphics, and it's a definite improvement over the original Game Boy version, and it's got better backgrounds and better play control. But there's no two-player option, which means what's the fucking point?
It has a Game Link cable.
And
It
then,
should definitely be
no
supporting
Super
that.
Game Boy backgrounds or screen colors. The game does look good on a Super Game Boy, though. And then some of the fatalities and moves were not included because Nintendo doesn't want you to know the truth.
All right, Ben.
There's 9/11 truthers, and then there's Mortal Kombat truthers.
Take us home, Ben.
Yogi Bear's Gold Rush for Game Boy. Good graphics and varied gameplay. A simple concept but fun. However, not as much Jellystone humor as fans might want to expect. And then they have a special note over here about the new ESRB ratings for the categories. They describe them, and they have like alternative descriptions. So for like early childhood, it says Gerber meets Barney. Kids to adults, it says mild violence, Koopa stomping. Teen, it says may contain graphic violence without realism, cussing, and gambling. Mature says stronger content than teen standards plus gore galore. and then adults only says sex, drugs, profanity, and
Which
goat
is,
worship.
I want that as a T-shirt now. Like they've literally hit all of my things in one move there.
Apparently, if I was a video game. All right.
And they show
Was
the
Mortal
ratings
Kombat
from
the reason? Was Mortal Kombat the reason this came about?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my
Mortal
gosh.
Kombat Night Trap.
Yep. Those are the ones.
You know,
All right.
Tipper Gore was all over it.
So was
Yeah.
Joseph Lieberman.
Never forget.
Oh, yeah. I remember that guy's name.
And Herb Call of Wisconsin.
All right.
Is that Herb
let's
or
see.
Herb?
Herb.
It's Herb because there's a fucking H in it. All right.
Jesus.
I don't like the silent H.
All right.
You only grudge my gears. You can't say Herb Garden. Okay, Pack Watch.
All right.
Looking at the games of the future. Let's quickly go over these. Demon's Crest, which is another Gargoyle's
know.
Quest
Yeah.
sequel. Then they have Brutal Paws of Fury.
That looks terrible.
This is what a
This is like
it's a fighting
this is how-
game with cartoon characters. It looks terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is how you get furries.
And then we have Super Return of the Jedi coming out, which I'm sure will be a cover game. And then we have Mickey Mania, which looks like has
Which-
really nice graphics.
It's
a
made by
platformer?
Sony, not Capcom, which is weird.
Yeah, it's got all. It goes over the old stages, including Steamboat Willie, Mad Doctor, Band Concert, Moose Hunters, Lonesome Ghosts, Fun and Fancy Free, and The Prince and the Pauper. So, really old stuff to more modern stuff. And then
Yep.
what else do we have here?
Yeah.
Civilization is coming.
I was going to say, if you
play
want
on
to
the
play
PC, though.
a good game with horrible controls, have we got a game for you?
Don't play that port on the Super Nintendo. Okay. Street Racer, which looks terrible. Beavis and Butthead.
Is that a biplane on the field?
Looks like it. And there's a soccer ball. I don't know.
Wait, was this a precursor to Rocket League?
I guess. A
Red
really
Rocket
shitty
League.
one. Beavis and Butthead are coming your way, so yay, another MTV licensed game. I'm sure that's going to be as good or slightly better than the Wayne's World one.
And Ben's
still-
favorite. Okay,
I'm
Mike.
I'm still holding out for the Max.
Yeah, keep holding out for that one. Bass
right.
Relief. Or Bass
Good old
Relief.
Bats Relief.
Some nicer graphics, but yet another fishing game. NCAA Final Four basketball from Mindscape. is
Wait,
coming out.
they're saying it's like 3 different games. Bassins and Bassmaster as well as TNN.
Yeah, we're looking
So
at
there's
3 different games.
3 bass games.
Oh,
are
my
coming.
bad. There's 3 bass fishing games?
Yes, like they said,
Jesus.
you don't have enough bass action.
What is the
I
market
feel like
for
that's a
this?
thing
My
that was
God.
for sure a
They
thing
sell so
a
many
while
bass
back.
games.
That there was like a lot of like
It was.
fishing games.
Yeah, but it was always bass. Like for some reason there was like just this vendetta against bass.
There's no
Where's,
like
the
Maybe because
Cana-
it was-
where's the Canadian fishing game where it's like Super Cod Hunter?
Where's the rainbow trout fishing game or catfish
Northern
game?
Pike. The Northern Pike game.
I want to see like coelacanth, the most elusive prey.
The grouper game. The manatee hunter. The cows of the sea.
I thought that was Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
that
NCAA
landed
Final
well.
Four
All right.
basketball from Mindscape is coming out. Oh boy. And then we have Meta 95 for
God, which
it's
you
like
want to play on the
Boy?
Game Boy.
Oof.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's rough.
that's rough.
Oh my god, John Madden looks like he's got the mumps.
He does.
That's why you vaccinate kids.
That's right. And then we also have a Wolverine game coming up for Super Nintendo, Stargate coming up for Nintendo,
Balls the game.
Nigel Mansell racing game, something called Balls with a Z. Where the screenshot
That's gotta hurt.
it says that in it. It's just these animated characters constructed out of spheres.
That's my second favorite game after Socks the Cat.
And then we get to see just Guile. which is Jean-Claude Van Damme from Street Fighter. It's like we're expecting games, and then we're just looking at a picture of Gaia.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure there's some reference in this giant page of wall text about it, but we're not going to find out.
Carrier
Metal
Aces?
Storm, Carrier Aces, and then
It's not Koei. It's a game tech game. All right.
and then I don't know what Michael and Mario screenshots are.
It
Yeah.
has to be like a Michael Andretti and Mario Andretti.
Andretti.
Yep, that is.
Okay. Okay. And then next issue, we have Donkey Kong Country in the cover, finally. We'll be talking about Wild Snake. So look forward to that. Super Adventure Island 2, Sparkster, Indiana Jones' Great Adventure, Final Fantasy 3 In Depth. Oh boy. Earthworm Jim.
This will be our 3-part episode where like the middle part is just me talking and John whining.
Ugh, I might just
And us not
do
there,
anything
yes.
else. Yeah.
And a special
Nice.
about Killer Instinct.
All right.
And then, that's it, the end of the issue.
Yeah, we have the Harambe ad closing out.
He's got his palm out for dicks, but all he got was a Super Game Boy.
He says, "Get big."
Yeah, big.
Anyway.
Nice. All right. Well, Kyle, thank you very much for coming on and being our guest.
Thank you very much for having me. This was fun.
Glad you enjoyed yourself. All right,
Yeah.
so for anyone who wants to find us in between episodes, you can find us on Facebook.com/PlayingWithPowerPodcast. You can find old issues on PlayingWithPowerPodcast.com. You can also subscribe and donate to the cause on Patreon.com/PlayingWithPower. And if you'd like to leave us a review and rating on iTunes, that would be swell as well. If you'd like to reach out to Mike, he is on Twitter at GetThePower88. Mike, do you have anything else to plug?
Sure, if you want to hear me talking without John disparaging my beloved mother, you can tune into the Graveyard Shift podcast, which is a horror movie review podcast where we talk about the movies, our likes or dislikes. We do a little alternate, like deleted scene about the movie, and we just talk about horror stuff and amazing production notes, trivia, and just have a great time. And that's the horror show. That's the Graveyard Shift horror with Sheldon and Mike. You can find it on
Nice.
iTunes.
And I'm looking forward to hopefully running by on that podcast sometime.
Oh,
Well, you've certainly proven yourself today as a good guest.
Hey, what's 3.5 hours between friends?
yeah. Thanks for coming on and being such a trooper. My gosh, this was a long one.
Normally
thing is
people
I-
make it to the first break and they're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do anything else in my life."
Luckily, I'm codependent enough that I'm like, well, I guess I'll just start working on that other project at midnight.
Yeah. Well, you definitely redeemed stand-up comics on this show since you actually lasted longer than 20 minutes.
I assure you,
and
none
read
of
the
them are as good as me.
And read the Oh, you actually read the magazine. He did not.
Well, I mean, I happen to have a CBR reader on my iPad, so it made good for lunchtime reading.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks again for coming on. I'm Ben.
Wait.
Oh, what?
If they want to, is there anything that Kyle would like to, promote again because he didn't get to do his promotion
At the beginning?
So if anybody's,
Did we miss that?
Yeah, you didn't give
Oh,
him a
my
chance
bad.
to like.
I'm sorry.
I'll run it again. Kyle Clark is rad is my Twitter handle. It's for Twitter and Instagram. My podcast, This Is Rad, that I'm really proud of and I think it's a lot of fun. And then my album, I'm a Person, which is everywhere where you can go digitally, listen to records. And I definitely encourage it. It's a thing I'm very, very proud of. And it's all self-released, so there's no middleman involved. So anything you do to support it goes back to me directly. So anything would be greatly encouraged. But mostly I just want to hear people listen to something that took 3 years to make.
Do you have any
Awesome.
tours or anything coming up? Or
Nothing that's official on the books yet. I got a couple
Okay.
of things coming along. The dates will probably go up on my Twitter.
okay, well, keep an
Awesome.
eye out, everyone, because good times.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks again.
Oh,
so
actually,
much.
I'm at San Diego Comic-Con. I'll throw that out. I'm a guest on the Mean Boys podcast live show at the Comedy Palace, 10 o'clock on Friday at Comic-Con.
Wow. That's
What
legit.
what days are that?
That's the Friday of Comic-Con weekend. I don't remember which weekend it is.
Okay. This will air. This airs next week, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have much buffer.
I was gonna say we burned that out. Sometimes it was like a month in advance, But All right. Any other closing statements, gentlemen? We're good? Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, thanks. I'm Ben.
I'm Mike.
And I'm John.
And now you're playing with Power.
Nintendo Entertainment System. Now you're playing with power.
All right.